the classes, the inheritance concept, and all the other things, the templates, the files. We have seen around 5 to 6 examples, right? Have you all practiced those?
Except the last class, no, I didn't
Yeah.
practice it. That is with respect to the class. Other than that, I just practiced the other examples.
Okay.
But
So
class I
what
went
I want you to do is go to Puppet Forge and download the Apache. I told, right, download the Apache and go through that. It's a very standard template where you can learn a lot of attributes and every other things. So go to Puppet Forge and download Puppet Labs / Apache, which is a what do you say, written by the Puppet Labs itself, Puppet organization. Go through that. You'll learn a lot of things, the advanced things where you can understand. And also go through, there is one more, resource, right? What is resource? There is a resource called EXEC.
Okay.
Yeah, so EXEC. So this resource is important because whenever you find any other things which you are not able to execute them on the remote server, right? You can send the remote command through this EXEC. So you need to learn this also. If you want to
Okay.
do some remote command execution, that okay, my WebLogic should be, you want my like WebLogic to be started uh, a certain time, or every time you want to send something or something, right? So based on this, you can send it.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Fine. Gopal.
Yeah. So try to download them and uh, try to start practicing, because I think you know all the basics, because we have written a pretty small complicated thing, right? This other session which you missed. So try to complete that and try to start writing your own scripts. So take a requirement by yourself and start implementing those. Until unless practice, right?
Okay. Sure. Sure.
Otherwise, yeah, try to do something which I have not given.
Yeah. Yeah. That is correct. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So today's session is regarding Nagios. We'll be discussing today regarding Nagios. So you have any idea what is Nagios?
It's a kind of monitoring tool, you know.
Yes, yeah, it's a monitoring tool. Yeah, so currently in the market, right, we have multiple monitoring tools. We have a monitoring tool which is only for the Java applications, right, which is application monitoring, APM tools. APM is nothing but application performance management. So if you take your Dynatrace, if your Introscope, and also Tivoli, right, IBM Tivoli, these are all very huge monitoring tools which are dedicated for your application monitoring, where you'll have trace analysis, class level, method level, data, all these things, right? You use which monitoring tool in your for your WebLogic? Mimran, in your organization, which monitoring tool are you using to monitor the, what
Oh,
you say, the
sorry. Is that a
performance?
question to me? Okay.
Yes, yes, I was
Yeah,
asking a
we are
question.
use. Oh, okay. 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 It is side scope actually.
Sitescope.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a HP product, right? Okay, so HP's product, but it's only for a general monitoring purpose, right? If you want to do a deep analysis, what you'll do means suddenly there was a high performance in a Java application. If you want to know which Java class did, right, you can't know through that Sitescope, right?
Yeah, yeah, that is true. That is true. We cannot get into deeper. Normally, we do for actually like disk, height, disk space, and
Yeah, yeah,
port.
high
No,
disk space, yeah, yeah, yeah,
monitoring some specific ports if it is down. URL monitoring, URL
yeah. You
basis.
monitoring, yeah, yeah. Step by step monitoring, URL sequence monitors. You'll have.
Yeah, we also have log monitoring. No log, no monitoring for a particular string in the log. So these
Yeah, yeah.
kind of things we have got. Yeah.
Okay, 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 okay. Yeah, so yeah, I was an administrator of Sitescope also a couple of years back, so yeah,
Yeah.
so I
Okay,
could
that's
understand
nice.
about that. Yeah, so yeah, so we use in our typical environments multiple things. See, Sitescope, yeah. So Nagios is a all-in-one solution. So you can monitor your, and when you want to monitor your network devices, right? You can't monitor network, right? Means if you want to monitor load balancer, network, switch, routers, all these things, you can't monitor on Sitescope. So currently in our environments, right, we are using multiple monitoring teams and multiple monitoring applications to monitor different resources in an environment. You know the resources, right? It's a VM machine, it's a desktop machine, all these things, right? So Nagios is an all-in-one tool. So Nagios is not something new. It was just from past 4 or 5 years. It has got a lot of what is support. But Nagios was released in 1999. It's around 17 years back. So it's a pretty old one. And what is a Nagios? Because Nagios is an open source tool. So you can see the source code. And Nagios has two offerings. Nagios has an enterprise offering, which is a paid solution. But that paid solution is in turn also dependent on the Nagios open source core product. So Nagios core is a core open source application which is built on the Nagios. So what we can do with Nagios, we'll see. So Nagios is a all-in-one monitoring solution which is recently adapted to your DevOps solution, because everything can be monitored, and Nagios has a very powerful monitoring. So the graphs are very powerful. The reporting structure is very streamlined. Sorry for the interruption, guys. Yeah. So Nagios, apart from the what do you say, monitoring all the resources, right? Whether it's a router, whether it's a device, whether it's a VMware machine, all this, it also has a powerful reporting structures. You can download your report in different format. You can create the dashboards however you want. So dashboard is nothing but viewing your reported data. So you are currently having some data being reported. If you want to customize how you want to see it, you can do it. So all those things, we'll see that in a minute. So today's agenda is regarding what is Nagios, what Nagios can monitor. We'll see the Nagios installation. It's both the server and the agent, and we'll also see what are the basic building blocks. The way we have basic building block resources, templates, manifests, modules, right? The same way Nagios also has some basic building blocks, which are the main structure through which you are going to monitor. So, and we'll see what is Nagios web interface. So Nagios web interface is the most important here, because here we'll not be continuously writing cookbooks, but what monitoring solution is, we need to continuously monitor, because monitoring in the starting place, once you set up the monitoring, you are not going to do any maintenance on that on the agents, right? Once you set up an agent, that's it. You're not going to touch the agent at all. So whatever you do is you take decisions, or you see what's happening. So web interface is the most important component, because if you go to the Puppet or Chef, right, you continuously update your cookbooks, or you continuously write manifests or recipes. But here you don't write anything, but you keep building and you keep monitoring it, and the way you use the dashboards will define it. And Nagios can also send out requests or notifications. So you can select the notification based on the team, user, and and we can send customized alerts. So that is also an important thing. And we'll also see how to monitor remote server. As I told you, we can monitor services also, and we'll also monitor a URL the same way you monitor a site scope, right? So we can also do those things. And what we'll not be covering is how to monitor network device. So we don't have a network device, so I can't cover that monitoring. So because that is a limitation to our sessions, because we don't have a data center. So uh, all the other three types will be configuring and seeing it. Okay. Yeah. So what is Nagios? So we just discussed what is Nagios, right? That Nagios is an open source which can pretty much monitor anything, guys. There is nothing which Nagios can't monitor. And Nagios also has JMX. JMX, you are aware, right? Java Management Extensions. This is the main extension way through which you can monitor Java applications. Vimalan, you are aware of JMX?
Correct, correct. We do
Yes.
have actually, but not in SiteScope. We have it in Splunk.
Yes. Yeah. Splunk is again a different thing. It's an analysis tool. What we do is we continuously feed data into Splunk. So Splunk has a lot of
Yeah,
plugins,
correct.
WebLogic, WebSphere plugins. So based on that, it understands that logs, but it's completely computation. So Splunk is a very famous tool for what you say, analysis tool. So JMX is nothing but Java Management Extensions. It is an open. It's a standard through which you can monitor Java applications. So I see Sunita is continuously coming in, leaving in. Has Devendra joined the call? Devendra, you're on the call?
Let's see.
I think Okay. Yeah. So, so there isn't a single component or single application which can't be monitored, Viblan. So anything, pretty much anything can be configured. So some people say that if it is connected to electricity, it can be monitored. So it's that way. So if something is connected to electricity, you can monitor it. So Nagios is that powerful. It's that customizable. So we'll see what are the features of Nagios. So Nagios is a powerful monitoring engine because why it is powerful, because it is based on the open source and it's continuously developed by a lot of people. It's not just a 100 or 200 people, but it is a very powerful monitoring engine which is efficient and also it's scalable. So if you want to monitor 100,000 resources, right, which are comprised of servers, nodes, and virtual machines, right, it is capable of doing that. So it's not like, okay, that doesn't have any bottlenecks. So, and Nagios is also has it has a lot of customization. It's a lot of advantages with the web interface. So Nagios currently is running on version 4.0, which is an open source, and the version XI is a it's 11 version is on for the enterprise. So the we have two versions I told, right, which is enterprise and the core version, but both are based on the same core libraries, so there won't be any difference, but the difference between those versions I'll be discussing in a minute. So the web interface is a very powerful interface through which you can customize your dashboards, you can download your reports, you can export your data outside, which is in a CSV format or it's a, or any other formats. So the graphs, so we can easily view a lot of information which is related to network incidents and resolve them before they issue. So whenever Nagios finds out an issue, right? Issue is nothing but you have set a threshold that okay, my CPU if my CPU usage utilization goes beyond 85%, you need to let me know. So the way that provides you information, right? You can know that information, you can stop any issues which are going to be happen before, because something other, if you don't monitor it, right, you'll have a major catastrophe. So it can be anything. So you can pretty much monitor a resource. If you want to monitor Apache resource, you can monitor an Apache resource. If you want to monitor Oracle database, you can monitor. If you want to monitor the CPU utilization, the swap space, the file system, the memory, you can do all the things. You can do the resources, you can do the server itself, you can see also the process also. Process is nothing but you start a process. WebLogic will, if you start a WebLogic will have a specific process name, right? You can also take that process name and you can use that process name and monitor it. So it's not, it can do pretty much every resource you can monitor within a server. So capacity planning. So due to the extensive data collector, right, we can slowly know what is the capacity of system. So if you slowly understand that, okay, the memory usage on the servers and the CPU usage is continuously increasing, right? Based on that, you can do the capacity planning. So you can, because since it's an automated, right, there will be a lot of trending information. Trending is nothing but, okay, last month my applications which on this server, right, were using 50% of memory. So next month, if you see, if it starts increasing to every month 10%, right, you'll understand the trending details. So it's very much useful for all the organizations for the capacity planning. They not only use for monitoring, but also it's also an important tool for a capacity planning. So configuration wizard is also a very huge advantage of Nagios. So if you want to configure a specific task, right, you don't need to download that or install plugin everything. There will be a configuration wizard. Configuration wizard is nothing but it's a UI step-by-step process through which you configure a specific task. So if you want to configure an Oracle database wizard will you can select that wizard and you can provide the information and provide a couple of steps and you can close it. So you don't need to break your head. It will be, everything will be as in a simple configuration wizards. So infrastructure management also can be done. What is infrastructure management? So if you want to do bulk host import, if you are adding new servers bulkly, if you want to do auto discovery is nothing but if you want to know how many servers are in my infrastructure, you can know the infrastructure management. So auto decommissioning means if you are going to decommission a huge number of servers under an application, yes, you can achieve that. And mass acknowledgement is nothing but if you want to send out a message that okay, these all servers are getting decommissioned, you can do that. So infrastructure management is nothing but if you can monitor the infrastructure, you can add infrastructure or you can delete infrastructure in a single console. So configuration snapshot. So you can regularly take your backups of your configuration. All the configuration of your Nagios can be regularly taken backups, and Nagios also by default will be taking snapshots and will be saving in your server. So if someone has messed up something, if you want to roll back to your specific data state, you can roll back. It's not like, okay, someone has deleted something, now Nagios server will stop monitoring. It can't be happen, because if it is a most important solution of your network monitoring, and network monitoring or application or your resource monitoring or server monitoring, if someone deletes something, it should not be in a position that it should take or a couple of days for you to recover for your network monitoring. So that is why it will take regular snapshots and it will archive it, and whenever you want you can revert it back, and you can never lose any configuration data. So advanced user management. So Nagios mostly will be used by the administrator, but Nagios can also be used by the L1 teams. So based on the L1 team, only the resources which they need to be seeing will be shown, and also there will be a lot of custom roles you can assign to the users. Because if you don't want an L1 resource to see all the configuration which is in place, right? He just needs to see the dashboards and the reports itself. So all the other tabs can be hidden from the user. So that is the advanced user management. So these are all the features and also advantages. So the advantages will be your updated web interface, your advanced graphics, graphs, and the infrastructure management and the configuration wizard. So configuration wizard is a very useful thing, which can be what you say a huge difference to the other monitoring tools. Guys, any doubts? Devinder, have you joined the call?
Yes, Gautam.
Yes. Yes, Devinder. So we were
So
discussing what
one
is
thing
Nagios.
I
Yeah,
actually
tell me.
I just joined little late. So this is open source tool, right? Anyone can use it?
Yes. Yes, anyone can use it. So there are two licensing models. One is open source and one is paid. So the difference between the open source and paid is the graphs and the advanced graphs, right? That advanced graphs will be missing, and also the configuration wizard will be missing. So whenever you, if you want to see the data or if you want to configure it, it will be a little tough. But that the data collection, all the other features are the same. So they want you to buy that enterprise edition so that you can see a lot of data which is in advanced graphs. So the graph information and also the configuration wizard will be missing, but all the other things will be there.
Okay, and it's a platform independent, like as you said that it can monitor Apache server, it can monitor WebLogic server.
Yes, it
So
can monitor Apache, it can monitor network hosts, it can monitor services, it can monitor process, it can also monitor some custom commands also. If you want to run specific command there and get that output, it will do. And the most important advantage, I didn't mention the other advantage, it is plugin. You can write any specific plugin, whatever you want, and you can write in whatever language you want. But when we wrote cookbooks and everything, right, we wrote in specific DSL language, Puppet or Ruby, right? Here you can write in whatever language you want and whatever you can do, and it's completely extensible. If you want to write a C program, you can. If you want to monitor C program also, it is fine. You can monitor anything. You can write it in any language.
And do
okay,
you have any limitation on the servers count?
No, Pawan, we don't have any limitation on the servers. It you can extend, you can add multiple Nagios servers, and you can keep monitoring them. So by default, it will. So there are basic requirements for your infrastructure, which is like 2 GB RAM, 20 GB hard disk, and those are the basic requirements. But Nagios, as a Nagios, what do you say, the company has never given any limitation. So I didn't find any limitation, official documentation or anywhere. So there isn't any limitation or like anything provided. It only based on your resources. If you have huge resources like around 200 GB and around 32 or 48 core processor, you can literally monitor around 100,000 servers. It's based on your computational resources. Yes. So Devinder, what monitoring tools you use in your organization to monitor WebLogic?
see, I have used OEM, Oracle Enterprise Manager. It's OEM 12C.
OEM 12C. Okay,
because
it's completely Oracle.
because
Yeah,
we
yeah.
had only WebLogic and everything moved to 12C, so we set up complete OEM.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a, yeah, it's a specific monitoring tool for, yes.
Yes.
So yeah, what we're discussing is Nagios can replace a lot of monitoring tools in your environment. It can replace your network monitoring tools. It can replace your synthetic monitoring tools. Synthetic monitoring tools is nothing but if you are monitoring your website for specific response time. If you have a multiple around 20 or 30 user-facing websites, if you want to continuously monitor them, and how you monitor, we know that your Java application is up and running fine, but if there is some issue between the user, so there may be any connectivity between your web server and the user, right? How are you going to know? If you're monitoring your Java application, you'll only know the response time of your Java application. We know that my Java is responding fast, but if there is an issue between a web server app server, you can use a synthetic monitoring. Synthetic monitoring is nothing but you periodically log into your website, you give your username, password, and you check the time which is taken for that login to be happening. So this is called synthetic transactions. You can also do synthetic transaction in Nagios. And if you only just want to monitor specific URL, right, you can monitor. If you want to monitor, okay, specific like any page in your website or home page or anything, you can monitor. And you can also validate through which if there is any specific element loading, right, you can specify the element. If you feel that there is some unique text once my page loads, right, you can validate through that. So it can be used in multiple ways and it can be extensible easily. And the same way the Puppet has a Puppet Forge and the Chef has supermarket, right? It also has a place where you can go ahead and download, and if you want, you can also go ahead and write your own plugins. So we'll go and see how it is, what can be monitored. So you can monitor your Windows, your Linux, your switches. Switch is nothing but these all comes to your device, network devices, a load balancer, router, switches, all these things. Exchange server is nothing but it's your Microsoft Microsoft Outlook server. So if most of them right now they are moving to Office 365, but still a lot of people use a traditional Exchange servers which are installed within their organization. So this is called Exchange servers. MySQL, source, MS SQL, it's Microsoft SNMP. SNMP is nothing but a protocol through which you can monitor the network devices. So SNMP trap, it's a, so when I tell you like we can monitor this, right? So Nagios also provides different interfaces through which you can monitor. There are mainly 4 interfaces. We'll see those interfaces, and you can also monitor websites. I told you, right? You can monitor a pure URL. You can also do a transaction that URL and also see the transaction time on that thing. So which can be a general or a synthetic one. It has a powerful alerting mechanism, and also the planning I told you, right, which can be used for a capacity planning based on your trending analysis of your data. So Nagios product, right, it's available in two ways, which can be provided by the Nagios organization, which is a Nagios Core and the Nagios Enterprise 11. So Nagios Core, I told you, is an open source and which is the heart of your Nagios product. So Nagios Enterprise in turn has a Nagios Core, but it has additional some libraries where you can see your data which is collected in more meaningful and more graphical graphs where it is highly usable. So since they want to sell the product to the people, so they have not added all these features to the Nagios Core. But Nagios Core also can be used. There won't be any feature difference. The only difference is the way you interpret the data. So Nagios Core currently is on version 4. So the Nagios Enterprise also in turn has this Nagios Core 4.0 version installed within the Nagios Enterprise. So we'll be only discussing the Nagios Enterprise because Nagios Core we are not going to interact. So organizations don't take this. So we'll only be discussing a Nagios Enterprise. So Nagios Enterprise is provided in 3 different licenses. So one is 100 node, 200 node, and the unlimited node. So you can only select one of these 3 licenses. So the license will always be provided in a license key value. It's not a file, but it's a text value. It's a small string value they'll be providing you, and you need to configure that string value in your web interface. In other most of the times, right, people have started not providing this way because people can easily share this with other organizations. So normally most of the time people are sharing with a file-based license files now, but still Nagios uses a string-based just a text where you can use it and configure it in your web interface. So we see the 3 licenses, but there are also 2 editions. So the two editions are standard edition and enterprise edition. So the main difference between standard and enterprise edition is scalable, where you can have multiple Nagios servers installed, but standard edition where you only have a single server uh, used to monitor. So we can't extendable this enterprise edition. That's the main difference, but we don't have anything other than that. And always whenever you buy a license, right, it will only be provided for you for a 12 month, which is a standard 12 months of maintenance license. That's the same license anywhere. If you buy a IBM or WebLogic license, it's the same license, and they'll also be providing you an email support. So we'll be discussing the we'll be installing the Nagios Enterprise Edition. So you know to confuse the standard or edition. So everything will be standard by default. Once you keep extending it, it becomes an Enterprise Edition. So installation, the installation Nagios, right? It has been created for only RHEL Linux servers. So you can't even install this on Ubuntu or SUSE Linux. The Nagios server can only be installed on enterprise Linux. Enterprise Linux is nothing but your RHEL or CentOS. These are enterprise Linux editions. So your Nagios server can be installed on this only, but your clients can be installed on anywhere. And sometimes you don't need to client also. Whenever you're doing an SNMP, right? SNMP is nothing but it's port-based configuration, and you can also monitor through SSH. So you can also monitor NRP. There are multiple ways you can monitor, and in only 1 or 2 ways you will be requiring to be installing a agent. In other modes of monitoring, you don't need to install an agent. You just need to communicate through that port. So you can only install your Linux in your Linux servers, which is RHEL of CentOS. So we'll see what are the prerequisite ports which needs to be opened for Nagios installation. So Nagios, the most important thing we told, right, it is a web interface. So you need ATN 443 open. The 161 and 162 ports are used for the SNMP. Guys, are you aware of what is SNMP?
Not much.
Idea, maybe yeah, it's network monitoring. I'm just aware that it's a network monitoring.
Yeah, SNMP stands for Simple Network Management Protocol. So if you have a Linux server or a Windows server, right, it's a pure operating system and I can install whatever binaries I want. But when you want to monitor a Cisco router or Cisco switch, right, it doesn't have something, a user management, it doesn't have hard disk, RAM, everything, right? It has processing where it will take the request and it will process it. So for these kind of devices, right, you can't install an agent or you can't install you can't open SSH connectivity to that, right? So what you do is, there is a popular open source protocol SNMP through which it's used for collecting information and configuring the network devices, right? The servers, printers, hubs, switches and routers, right? Through IP. IP is nothing but internet protocol. So again, internet protocol runs on TCP. So if you just have a TCP connection on IP, you can monitor all this type of devices using this protocol. So how this protocol runs? There are two protocols. One will be 161, which is the inbound protocol, inbound data. And 162 is the outbound. So you have this protocol. This protocol is a open source protocol, and whenever you request something on this protocol to the devices, they'll understand that and they are going to respond you with that specific information. So that is why SNMP is the only protocol which is used to monitor the switch, hub, router, all these type of network devices. Okay. Yeah, 5432, it's a standard protocol for your Postgres database. So the Postgres database, which we have already used, which is an open source, highly scalable database. So 5432 is a database which is used for this. So 5666, it is NRP. NRP, I told, right, it is one of the method to monitor remote servers. Remote servers, it can be a Linux or a Windows. So NRP is a one way of monitoring. It is also an open source protocol. So based on this protocol, we'll be monitoring that remote servers. And the 25, 465 and 587, right, these are all the SMTP protocols. SMTP is nothing for your email protocols. Email 25, POP, all these are the protocols we'll be using to just send the email, send the notifications on whichever protocol you want. WMI, these are the protocols through which you are going to remotely talk to the Windows servers, 135 and 445. These are the ports for the Windows Management Interface, WMI. We know SSH, right? Whenever you want to connect to a remote Linux server, you do SSH, but SSH will not be identified by the Microsoft server. So whenever you do Microsoft, what you do? You open a remote connection terminal and you go through that. So that will not be your 22 protocol. So that is those are these protocols. So these are the default ports which needs to be opened on your Nagios server during the installation or the post installation. So we'll see the installation. Nagios Enterprise, right, can be downloaded or installed in two ways. One is the RPM binary installation, and the other is a VMware image. So most of the time we'll be using the RPM binary, but Nagios cannot be installed on a server without internet connection, guys. You need to remember that. We need to have a broadband, we need to have a connection to the internet, because it's going to download a lot of binaries or lot of libraries apart from the main binary installation. So the main binary you are going to download, but during the installation it is going to download a huge number of small library files to complete the installation. And right now Nagios is working on a a non-internet based one, means which is a remote one, but it's not yet completed. So it's right now it's in beta stage. So I don't know whether it may come in this year or next year, but still, so if you are going to install, if you want to install Nagios Enterprise, you need to have a internet connection to that. So if you don't want that, Nagios also provides you a VMware image. So VMware image, you know, right, VMware ESXi, it's a VMware image, directly a VMware image. So you can take that image and you can install it on any of your VM boxes, and you can provide the hardware resources however you want. So it's just a VMware image. Once you install it in a VMware image, you can add whatever amount of RAM you want, whatever amount of your processor you want, and also the hard disk. So most of the time organization use the VMware image. So but VMware image, it will be a huge thing. I even downloaded, but we learn how to install RPM binary complete installation through the normal installation. VMware binary, this will not be anything, guys. You just download it. If you have VMware workstation also, you just import that VMware box, and you just provide the username and password which they give you. So by default, Nagios will give you a username and password, root and root. So once you use that username and password, you log into that server, and you can start changing that Nagios installation based on your organization. Like you can disable the root login, you can install your LDAP clients, and you can configure that machine to your organization standards. So VMware image installation is nothing. You just download that image, you open your VMware ESXi, which is your organization, or your VMware workstation, which is your local installation, and you import that machine. So that's why we'll only cover RPM binary installation, where we'll see, we'll download the RPM, we'll install it, and we'll see that. Okay. Let me do that. So as I told you, on what type of operating systems it's going to download, guys, we just discussed. It can only be installed on what type of operating systems? Linux, the CentOS, or Linux.
Yeah, Red Hat and CentOS.
Yes. So it can only be installed on these two type of operating system, not even Fedora. Though Fedora is direct, it's an extension of RHCL of CentOS. It cannot be installed on Fedora also. So the only two licensed or authorized operating systems by the Nagios is these two. So I'll be using a CentOS, and it's always recommended by Nagios, the product, like they want it to be installed on a clean operating system. So they don't want any server which has been previously used for any other task, whether it may be a small task of running a web server or anything. So it's always recommended to be installed on a clean operating system. So they specifically mention this. So you guys, you also need to remember this, that whenever we are going to install Nagios Enterprise, it's always recommended to be installed on a clean operating system.
What is the clean operating system? I didn't get it.
Clean operating system, nothing but which has just been set up, which a new installation of operating system on a server. So which has not been used for any other purpose. You just installed operating system, right? RHEL server, and you just brought up the server for the first time, that will be a clean operating system. Or else, what you can do is, yeah, sorry for the interruption. So it's nothing but it's a new installation of an operating system. Either you can completely clean up that server and reinstall it, or you can set up a new server. That will be a clean install.
Okay, so for existing system, we can't install it.
Exit system we can do, but what they expect is they want that server which has never been used for any other purpose. Other purpose means it can be used for a WebLogic. You install WebLogic, you uninstall that, but still there will be some traces of WebLogic somewhere within the etc, var, all the root locations, right? So they don't want any trace or any other thing happened on that server prior to installing of Nagios server. So that server should be a clean server. Means you do a new installation of a Linux operating system or a CentOS operating system, and you just start with the Nagios server. Prior to this, they doesn't want to do any operations on that. You can do an operation, you can mount file system, you can add all these things, but you should not use that server for any other operations. Which means
Okay,
they doesn't
so
want you to install anything and uninstall. Yeah.
like other monitoring tool, we also need to set up agents to the target servers in this Nagios.
Yes, but that is not the only option I told you, right? You can install agents, but you can also monitor without installing agents also. You can monitor the Linux server without installing agent. You can also monitor with installing agent. So installing agent has more capabilities. Without installing, it will has less capabilities. So it's up to you. Most of the time, network devices, you're not going to install anything. For the Linux and Windows servers, NRP is a protocol which is understood by both. So we'll be seeing this. So we'll be installing NRP, and I'll also tell you how to configure the SSH. SSH, it will be very easy. So I will be discussing the NRP. Yeah, once you go to the web interface and you start seeing the options, you'll slowly understand. Once we configure a server and once it starts reporting, we'll see the data, so you'll understand that. Okay. They want us to log in through CentOS. So remember, guys, whenever you're logging through a CentOS machine, they ask you to specify the user as CentOS, not the root, which we use for the RHEL. Just change the name, but anyhow, they'll be warning you, so there is no issue. You can. Let me go to the root. Let me browse to them. So I'll be downloading the RHEL. So we can directly download it from the RHEL website using a curl or duplicate, whichever is fine for you. So I'll be using duplicate. So by default duplicate, let's see whether duplicate is installed on the system. So duplicate is not installed. So let me browse to the location. This will download the latest Nagios Enterprise Edition, which is a Nagios server. So you can see it has been downloaded. So if you see, it's a very small installation because a lot of other files will be installed during the installation. That is why you see the installation which is very, very small. It's just a 100 MB, though it's a huge list of binaries which will be installed also as part of your installation. So once you download, you'll have the files. So the single file you need to run if you want to install the full upgradation is full install. This is the command you run to install your Nagios server. So there will be a lot of things happening. It will be scrolling very fast, guys. So I'll also try to. So it's asking, do you want to continue? Yes. So here they give right again. See, the script should only be installed on a clean install of a CentOS or Red Hat. Do not use the system on a system that has been tasked with other purposes or as an existing solution of Nagios core. Got it? So it should not has been tasked for any other purpose, or if you not used to install which already has a Nagios core. So these are the two important things he wants to tell before you want to continue. If you see again, see it has already downloaded 47 MB now. So this way it will be downloading multiple times again. See, it has downloaded again 142 MB again. So that's why Nagios, I told you, right, they are trying to create an offline installation with all these binaries already downloaded within a single installer. But it's still not in the market yet. Devinder, have you practiced this Puppet, all the Puppet sessions, the examples for the files, the service, the default one, the class inheritance?
Not all, Gautam, because
Okay,
this weekend I just gone through the videos which were shared.
okay,
Because when you were taking the classes of Puppet, I could not get chance to practice. So this weekend I just gone through the videos again.
okay. Yeah, try doing that. And I also told you, right, download this Apache Puppet Labs Apache, right? During the session, we use that as a reference, right, to show how complexly they can write. So try going through that
Yes.
and try writing by yourself. Until unless you are going to start writing, right, it's not going to be easy. So because start writing both the chef and puppet. So having the environment set up, I know guys, because you can easily set up with the videos, right? So try writing your cookbooks and the modules. So because I have seen started recently seeing openings, right, where they require WebLogic or WebSphere administrator with a chef and puppet. So it's slowly people are using that. So if you are doing that, then you'll have a good chance of getting a job on your both whatever the existing technology and also the other technologies, because people are still not completely using the DevOps methodology, right? To do the DevOps methodology, they should scrap a lot of things. So people don't want to throw off all the things which they have built from a lot of years. So what they are doing is they're slowly implementing those. So I told you already, guys. So the first part, people who will be implementing, which is a DevOps solution, is the first one is a Puppet or Chef. The next one is Jenkins. After that only they'll start coming back to the JIT, Vagrant, all these things. So, so it has successful. The result is 0. There is no issue. So you can access this Nagios through this or the main URL. So this is a, so it's /nagiosxi, the server name. So it's running on the HTTP. So let me take the external URL. So the IP address which it was showing is the internal IP address within Amazon AWS. So this can't be accessed to the external world. So the external public IP address is this one. So we need to use this when we are logging in. So by default, you need to get this page, a welcome page. Once a successful Nagios installation has been completed. So where it will be prompting you to log into the Nagios web interface, and it will be having the result 0 at the end. So I told you guys, so it has downloaded approximately around 500 to 600 MB additionally, apart from the 117 MB, the directories which it was downloaded from as part of the default download. Okay, so that is why it has taken a lot of time. There will be a lot of open source libraries and dependencies which will be installed as part of this. So the main components are again the same. The DB and the core. Nagios core is the processing thing which does processing of the instances, and also we have a open source MariaDB. MariaDB is also a fork of your MySQL. So it's also a MySQL fork is nothing but the person who has invented MySQL, right? He left the MySQL company, and again he invented MariaDB. So there is one guy who has invented these two databases. So these two databases are named after his daughters. So Maria is his second daughter. So first time he invented, he put his first daughter's name. So that guy is a very talented guy. So we'll log in. Once you log in, this is a EC2 compute instance. So once you get this welcome page, it signifies that you are successfully logged in. So it also provides you a location where you can go through the tutorials, and also if you have any comments, they can directly support. So Nagios also has a very good support also. So once you post anything in the forum, you are going to get a response soon. So let me access the Nagios XI. So we need to set up a couple of things here during the first time login. So it will be this will be your program URL going forward. This will be your administrator name, the email address. Email address can be the local address. So you can't change this. So the default Nagios admin username which will be created as part of the installation is Nagios admin. So if you want this same password, you can use this password. If you don't want to use it, you can change it. So I'll be setting the same as the password, and also on which time zone your Nagios should be running. I'll take the default. So this is the last step where you have completed the Nagios installation. So now we can log into the Nagios 11 Enterprise Edition. So the Nagios web interface is based on PHP. So everything will be based on a PHP extension. So the web interface, right, it was built on the PHP. So since this is open source, most of the databases, libraries, all this ActiveMQ, all this, whenever they want to transmit messages, they'll all be based on open source resources or binaries. So because we have never seen any proprietary database or proprietary service being used, right, in Jeff or Puppet or Vagrant, right? So that is why these are becoming very famous, because the total amount of what do you say, the cost to maintain Nagios is very, very less compared to the paid versions or the enterprise versions from the big people who are Microsoft, IBM or Oracle. So you'll be agreeing to the terms and conditions of the Nagios. So this will directly take you to the home screen. So the moment you log in, right, Nagios will be providing you with a small tour of the options where you are going to see. So once we do the next, it will take you to the place. So this is the primary menu. So this is a primary menu where will be based on the user. If the login person is a user, right, he can't see this configure tab, because if you are giving the monitoring tool, right, most of the time administrators will not be logging in. The L1 teams or L2 teams who are doing the troubleshooting, or the middleware team, right, who want to see what is the status or what is the response time, right? So people other than admins, there will be a lot of people who will be logged into Nagios. So based on the permissions and roles, they will be seeing these screens additionally, or they'll be seeing all those, or they'll be seeing less of this. So okay, the next thing goes to, this is a secondary navigation. So these are all the pages part of this main menu. If you are going to go through any help menu or the view menu, these are all the sub menus or the secondary navigation as part of those main menu. So this is a primary navigation, then this is secondary navigation. The extended navigation is nothing but these are what you say, gives additional powers to the existing page which you are seeing it. So we'll see this again. Search, if you want to search any server or any resource group or any IP address, you can search it from this location. So it's completed. So if you can see the notice, this trial copy of Nagios will expire in 60 days. You can purchase a license or enter your license key. So the first part we'll be covering in the web interface is admin part. So admin is only visible for the administrators of Nagios. So you can see the same way which we have seen for the Puppet, right? Same way you can see the system components which are currently on the, whether there are any issues to the backend components, the enterprise components. So the database maintenance, database backend, performance grapher, monitoring engine. So this is the Nagios core or the Nagios monitoring core engine. All the other are very small components. And when you go to the license information here, you can provide your license key. So whenever you install a trial or this is a trial copy, right, there will be an option for you to enable 60-day trial. If you're not enabling this, right, you can use it as long as you want. But if you want to enable 60 days trial, you can enable it right now. Once you enable it, there will be some features which were disabled as part of this. So they will be enabled now. So enterprise features are now enabled. So prior to this, the enterprise features were not enabled. So once you start your trial of 60 days, all the features will be enabled. And if you have the license key, your license key, right, you can provide the key, which may be in this format, the string format, you can give it. So since this is a complete enterprise, I have the number of licenses unlimited, because I bought a trial version and I want to trial it on a 500 or 600, right? So that's why they don't want to give a 100 or 200 license file, but they have given you an unlimited license edition. So it's currently activated. So whenever you do the trial, First do this. So because organizations, what they do is first they buy it as a trial version and they use it around 1 or 2 months. Once they are fine, they want to buy it. So instead of again reinstalling it, what they can do is they can directly buy the license key and update the license, and this they can continue using their trial version, then they can upgrade to the complete licensed version. So this is the one. And this here we'll see a couple of pages or the secondary navigation menu. What are all the system status? So the same system status you can see. This can also this will also start monitoring your Nagios server. It's the total memory, the used memory, everything. This is the managed users. Managed users are the total users which are on this. You can start creating users, and you can also add a users from the LDAP or Active Directory. So LDAP or Active Directory integration will be here. You need to give all the details of the Active Directory and you can integrate that. So system settings is another place you'll have much other settings. So system settings, here you'll have this program URL, your time zone, and if you want to write audit log file is nothing but each and every task, each and everything which is being performed on your web interface will be logged into audit log. These audit logs can be used for security purposes. If someone wants to know which user has done what change, or Nagios admin, they want audit logs, they can do it. Security. This is your security where you can set up what type of SSL version you can use. SSL v1.2 is the latest version, which is a connectivity between your Nagios agents and Nagios host. So if you want to set up SSL also, you can set up SSL between agents and server. Passwords and accounts, this is for your current user and password. So if you want after 3 unsuccessful logins, you can do that. Enforce specific actions that you want to expire it on 90 days and your password should be minimum. You can enforce all these things. And theme and display, if you want to change the way it is looking, you can change it. But these are all not that relevant. So yeah, we'll be seeing some other extensions in some time. Now that we have completed installation, the additional things where we need to see is the email settings. Where is my email? Notification management. Yeah. Notification management is important because anything happens or anything needs to be notified to the user. Notification management is very important. So you can create a notification templates, and based on these notification templates, you can have this. So if you alert summary will be nothing but the name of that summary. So you can customize this how the alert will be sent within your team. So if you don't, if you want to change how that alert is specified, how the subject of that, you can modify all of these things. If you want something called high alert, right, you can add a high alert, and based on the type of alerts you can add it. You can customize the email template, how it is being shared with the teams and how it is sent in SMS, because we have a capability to send SMS also from Nagios. Once you have a specific settings based on your operator, right, you can also send SMS also. Notification preferences, how you want to notify host recovery, host down. So if the host has been recovered also, you can send an acknowledgement that, okay, if we first send an alert that there was a host down, whether that server's down, but if the server's again up and running, we can also send a host recovery. So these are all the service recovery and host recovery. These are additional notifications. So this is the manage email settings where you will be setting your email settings. Your host name, everyone has a SMTP host, right? SMTP port, username, password. And if you have a SMTP which is on SSL, you can activate this. And if you want to manage your SMS, you can manage mobile carriers. So the email to message to email, there is a conversion. So in India, this feature is disabled in all operators. What this signifies is, if you want to send the same message through an SMS, right, what you can do is you can add whichever operator you want. It's like around Airtel something at the rate airtel.com or airtel.net with the number. So this was activated, or it was working for a couple of years back. Now it's not working. So based on your country or people, so you can also additionally send an SMS for a very critical alerts. So these are all the settings you can modify. So these will be the important settings, the system profile, the email settings, and the mobile carrier settings, and also your user management. So we'll right now we'll see how to install an agent. So we have seen the admin. All these things we can start seeing once we install an agent, guys. So home location is nothing but it will start monitoring your home, all the information which is being gathered currently. So there will only be one host, because by default agent will also be installed on your Nagios server, because if you are monitoring all the servers, but if you want to monitor a Nagios server details also, you want an agent, right? So by default Nagios will install that client and it will configure by itself, because we also need to monitor the Nagios also, right? We also want to see what is the CPU utilization of Nagios, if there is any file system issue or if there is any service down. So it will also download. So by default you'll have one host which is up and running, which is your Nagios server monitored. The views, dashboards we'll see once we configure a couple of one server, which is an agent. We'll have multiple views here. So right now this host health is 100% because there is only one host which is monitored. Dashboards, I told you we can create dashboards whichever way you want to show the information. Add new dashboard can be added a new dashboard. We'll see once we have a agent create installed. So we have completed the installation. We'll see. I told you, right, we'll have some basic building blocks, right? Everything has a basic building blocks. So what are the basic configurations which you'll have? So by default, there will be three specific building blocks which are by default, which is acted for every user. Those are hosts, services, and contacts. Hosts will directly correspond to a computer or a machine which is being monitored by the Nagios core itself. So it can be a virtual machine, it can be a VPN device, it can be a network host, everything, which can be the host. Service corresponds to the what service needs to be monitored on that host, whether you want to monitor SNMP through a what you say, whether it's a router or switch, or if you want to monitor a specific Apache service is running or not, if you want to see HTTP service is running, or if you want to see whether SSH service, any service, or all the corresponding arrangement. And the context is nothing but once you have a specific host and specific service to be monitored, whom to be informed once there is an issue on that. So you have the server on whom to monitor, services, what to monitor, and contacts are the person who needs to be notified if there is any issue. So these three are the basic building blocks wherever you do. If you are configuring anything, these three will be by default the things you need to configure. So let's see the installation of an agent. So Nagios agents, right, can be configured in the three ways, which is NRP, SSH, and SNMP. So we'll see what is NRP. NRP is nothing but it's a network management what do you say? Nagios remote. Yeah, Nagios remote plugin executor. So it is a what do you say? It's a Nagios plugin which will be executed by the Nagios server by remotely on the Nagios Linux server. So if you can see the communication, right? So Nagios enterprise server, it will invoke the check and score NRP. This is a service, and this service once invoked, it will be run on the destination Linux server on the SSL through NRP service. So what you need is you need to have this. By default, this service will be installed on Nagios Enterprise. What you need to install is you need to install the Nagios NRP client on the Linux server and also all the plugins. So this is a plugin. So this plugin should also be installed on this, and it should also have the NRP agent. So NRP consists of two parts: a client, which is the plugin, and the daemon process. So daemon process is nothing but a process which needs to be running on the Linux server to identify. So if you have a process continuously running, right, then only it will identify that, okay, I got a request from my Nagios server, so it is requesting me some data, so I should run it. So it's not like you'll invoke for every 30 minutes or not. So a daemon service should always be running on your agent server, and that agent server will also have a plugin. So the daemon service, whenever it receives a request from the server, it will run the plugin and it will send the data back to the Nagios server. So it's a simple installation, guys. So it's nothing but it's a type of a monitoring what you say agent and protocol. So that protocol will be invoked by the Nagios server itself, and Nagios server will enable that service on the Nagios server. That request will be sent to the Linux server, and the data will be collected from the server and it will be sent back to the Nagios uh, enterprise. So we'll see this installation, and there is no restriction on type of what do you say, the operating system. You can also monitor your Mac OS. You can also, means Apple operating systems, right? You can also monitor Apple operating systems, Windows, Linux, AIX. You can also monitor the VMware machines. You can monitor all type of services. There is no restriction. Let me go back to here and launch a new instance. This time I'll launch RHEL. Last time we took CentOS, right? We'll use the RHEL to install an agent. So guys, we don't have anything which can be used to remotely install. So we don't have that, what do you say, facility. So the way you can uh, bootstrap a node, right? You can't bootstrap a node from the enterprise Nagios server to the agent. So we need to compulsorily log into that agent and install it. There is no other way or easier way than this. Let me go to the root, more system files. Then we can download the NRP agent. Hope there are no spelling mistakes. Oh. And this Linux, right? It covers a huge number of operating systems. So when we install the Puppet, the chuff for Puppet, right? When we are installing on CentOS, Fedora, and RHL, right? We have a different agent, and when we are installing on the SUSE Linux or Ubuntu, right? We have a different agent. But here, right? This Linux, right? It completely covers all the type of Linux flavors. It may be a SUSE, it may be a Linux, Ubuntu, RHL, CentOS, Fedora, everything. So here the agent is a lot easier because it will understand any type of Linux other than the Unix. So when you go to AX, then it will be different. Mac OS, it will be different, and Windows different. But for all other Linux, have the same agent.
Do we need, is it ASS ETS or?
Yeah, it's TS. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
So we have the NRP again. So we will be installing the same way again, the full install file itself. So here you can see this script should be only on the clean install of RHEL, CentOS, Fedora, Oracle, OpenSUSE, Ubuntu or Debian. So it covers a huge number of operating systems within a single client. Why it's possible? Because when it started, right, very long time back, right, so most of them had common components around 16, 17 years back. So that's why they are able to do this and wear this puppet and chef, right? They are huge organizations also, they can't cover this. So this will also be in turn again be downloading a lot of things.
So Gautam, it means let's say we are monitoring 100 nodes, so we have to do such a 100 time installation of agent in these 100 nodes.
Yes, the same way we are installing this puppet, right?
Okay.
So that's why I wanted to tell you. So once you have puppet in your environment, right, you don't need to do all these things. What you can do is you can write a cookbook, tell this guy to install on that and attach to whatever servers you want. So the most important thing in any DevOps environment is first having any, what is this? What type of tool? It is configuration, continuous deployment or continuous development tool. So once you have that tool, right, you don't need to do all these things manually because you have all those tools readily available for you to do these installations, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so that is why you will continuously require Puppet or Chef. So once you have this, you don't need to do all. You'll just add this cookbook to Linux servers or Windows servers, or you can add that cookbook to the main file. Then it will start installing that cookbook in all the thousands of operating system servers or whichever you want. So you need to write a little complex operating system to understand the operating system which is it's downloading. You can use the facts. Using the fact, you can understand that variable which is operating system, and you can apply whichever manifest you want. So that is why. Where is this? It needs the Linux server details also. So we'll be giving the Linux server IP address. So at the end of the Linux installation, right, the Linux installation will ask hello from. Hello from is nothing but when I told you, right, the initiation, the communication will start from the Nagios server to the Linux server, right? So it is asking which server is going to request me, because other than this server request, right, it's not going to respond to any other NRP request. So that is why we add the IP address or the host name of the enterprise Linux Nagios server. So that if when the daemon service, the daemon process is running on the client, right, whenever it gets a request on NRP port, right, so it is not going to respond to any other persons and other than this host name or the IP address. That is why it will ask hello from. Hello from is nothing but it will only allow a request from this process to the NRP to execute, not any other host name or a IP address. That is why it will ask from hello from. So when I told, right, 5666 and 5667 are the ports through which this communication happens. 5666 is the port which will be the data requested and is the data sent out. So they'll directly tell you that if you want to have the communication set up, you need to open the ports on the TCP traffic in your security. So we have this agent installed. So this is half of the, so I have configured it, but if I want my enterprise server to start knowing it, and if it needs to be registered on the enterprise server also. So enterprise server, you go to the configure. So this is the configuration wizards. Configuration wizards, I told you, right? So configuration is wizard is nothing but it is a easy step-by-step process to configure any type of a process. So let me show you what can be a configuration wizard. Configuration wizard is nothing but a step-by-step guide through process, right? So wizards are nothing. If you have what is a wizard is, if it will help you to achieve something on a step-by-step basis by explaining you each step what is required, right? The same way, configuration wizard guides you through the process of setting up your devices, servers, application services, anything in a Nagios. So if you want to monitor Exchange server, I told right, Exchange server is nothing but an Outlook server. So if you go to this, it will just populate what are the required details for that. So it is Exchange 2012, 2005, everything. It will ask the IP address. Once you give the IP address, it will continuously ask the details, all the details which are required for that to effectively monitor that Exchange server. So wizards are nothing but these are the step-by-step easily helpful configurations where you can easily monitor. So LDAP, if you want to monitor an LDAP server, you can monitor. If you want to monitor Mac OS, you can monitor it. MongoDB can be monitored. Folder watch. Folder watch is nothing but monitor the directories or files with a Perl-driven extension, which can query count, size, or age. So if you want to count the number of files, number of what is the size of the directories, all those things using this folder watch. DHCP, monitor DHCP server, DNS query, all these things. So there will be a huge number of default configuration wizards. If you want still other configuration wizards, you can go to the the Nagios store and download them. So MS SQL database, MySQL query. If you want to monitor MySQL database query, right, you can monitor the database query itself. Sometimes if you want to know what is the total response time of a query, you can do it here. If you want to know, because this is an important query within your database, and if you want to monitor that query continuously, you can monitor it. If you monitor Oracle query, you can monitor. If you want to monitor Oracle server, you can monitor. If you want to just monitor a table space, you can do a Postgres query. You can want to monitor a printer. Yes, HP printer you want to monitor, you can monitor the printer. If the printer is offline, if the cartridge is down, you can know all these things from the printer. So printer is a network device, so the information will be through SNMP. So monitor an SNMP device. You can directly monitor an SNMP. Here he has told specifically HP, but if you want to do any type of device, which is every network device will talk on a SNMP. So these are all the wizards you can use to configure. If you want to configure VMware, if you monitor a website, I told you, right? You want to monitor synthetic web transaction. I told you, right, what is web transaction means? You give the user, you tell on the first step you ask it to go to the website. After that you'll tell go to the login screen and give this username and password and log into that. After that type this specific link and check whether that working or not. So that is called a web transaction. So and Windows, I told right, Windows WMI is a Windows remote protocol. So if you want to monitor Windows server, Windows to SNMP, or a Windows desktop, these are all the default components. So right now I just want to monitor a Linux server. So I'll go to the Linux server. This is the other 50% of the part where we'll be using to configure my Linux server. So IP address or the FQDN, whichever is fine. So let me go to mine. So my Nagios agent. The distribution is RHEL. It will provide you a huge number of options right now. So the advantage with NRP is this one. So you can see, right, it can monitor all these things. So the moment you come to this, right, it will ask you to install an agent. So you can download. So this part is already completed. So we'll come to the second part. SSL encryption, it will be enabled by default. So by default, the communication will be encrypted. And we also seen what is the protocol. The protocol was TLS v 1.2. So the server metrics. So what all the metrics you want to enable? You want to ping it So ping is nothing but it will continuously ping that and it will see what is the network latency. So if it will find that, okay, the ping is going very late, right, then the request on that server may be slow. So that's why it will monitor the ping and it will see the network latency. Yum update status. Yum update status, I told you, right, it will see whether the yum is up to date or not. The load, guys, you know, right, the load, the top command, and you get the load, right? If you see the top, you get the load. The load average is nothing but the total load on this server. This will be
Can we
monitored.
monitor multiple projects at a time?
Multiple?
Projects by using a single Nagios server. Is it possible to monitor multiple projects, like if
You
one project is associated with WebLogic and another is
yes,
WebSphere, like
yes.
different
Everything should be
type
in
of
a same
technology?
network, or they should be accessible through 5666 or 5667. If that server is accessible on the NRP ports and it is configured with NRP agent, yes, you can monitor it. So I'll come down to that. So if you want to know what WebLogic is up and running, right? So WebLogic will have a specific service name, right? So I'll come down that we can monitor. So you can see the load, the CPU statistics. Here you can monitor. This is your caution status. This is your danger status. So caution is nothing but it will throw a warning. But once it goes beyond 95, it will be a critical threshold. You can change it based on if you feel that my server should not go 65 or 75. You can change this threshold based on your requirement. Memory usage also, you can, if you want to throw an exception that, okay, all the memory is being completed, yeah, you can put something called 75 and 95. Swap usage is nothing but the swap space. Open files. Open files, guys, you know, right, LSOF, you know, list of open files. LSOF is a command to know the number of files which have been opened. So if you want to monitor the number of files opened, right, you can open it, check it. So this open files is mostly used in an active MQ or Apache MQ, right? This is used. Users, if you want to monitor the total number of persons logging into a server, right, you can monitor it. Total processes. Total processes, the total PS minus EF grep WCFNL is the output of that. So the total number of processes which are running. So the total 6. So it will monitor it. Then you can come to the disk usage, which all the disk you want to monitor. So currently I'm monitoring the root. If I want to monitor any other thing, I can monitor. So let me see all the mounts. So I have a /dev/xtva2 file system which is mounted on /root. So what I have another thing, I have the /dev/shm. So I can monitor this. So if you want to monitor any other thing, /run, yes, you can monitor /run. So you can monitor. If you want to add more, you can do with add row. It's not only confined to 5, but you can add as many rows you want. Then you come to the services part. Services is nothing but I told, right? By default, SSHD service should be enabled on your service. Otherwise, you can't log into a server. So cron D is a service where you want the crons to be running. So if you want to monitor the cron D, right? Because if you have set up any cron services and if you want to know all they are running fine, then cron service should run. syslog is for the system log. If you have HTTPD, right? HTTP is nothing but Apache. So if you have Apache web server on this, you can just enable this so that it will monitor the HTTPD. And if you want to monitor any other service name, right? So let me see the services. System CTL. So these are all the services currently. So let me see some service. Okay, there is something called dbus.service. So I can monitor this dbus.service. I can see the display manager, or I can see NTPD service. I told that NTPD is nothing but the service which will make sure that all your services are in sync or not. All the servers which are in your server should be synchronized to the same time, because some servers, right, or some applications will not talk if there is a difference or at least of 5 seconds, right? So it is that. So if you want to monitor syslog, it is you can monitor if you want to see. So let us monitor NTPD or network.service. You can monitor this service. So based on your service, which service you want, I can monitor a service. So let me remove this. I don't have MySQL. I can tell what is the service name. This is a brings up and down or networking. So this is a name and I can monitor this name. So based on your requirement, guys, you can, these are all the init.d is nothing but these are all the services which are registered with the operating system. These are not your custom, because when you install WebLogic, right, WebLogic is not going to register with your init.d service, guys, WebLogic, WebSphere, anything. So there are some services which are completely integrated with the operating system, right? Those are the services called init.d services, which can be started or stopped along with the operating system startup or stop. So these are init.d. All the other services, right, which are called processes. So WebLogic is not called a service in operating system. It is called a process. So that is why if you want to monitor WebLogic or WebSphere, you can come here and you can tell which Linux process, the Linux process name, right? You can specify the process name. You can tell the display name as something called WebLogic process. Okay, so you can continuously add the process here. These are the system services or other services which are registered with the operating system. These are all the processes which are running on the operating system. So once you are confined with all these things, right, you can go ahead and do next. And it will complete the installation. So, and the last thing is under how often you want this NRP service to be run on the client. So if you have a critical operating system, right, you don't want the services running every time, you can change it to 10, or if there is some other operating system you want to know the stats very often, you can change it to 1 minute. So you can't go beyond 1 minute. So the min is 1 minute. So we'll put around something called 2 minutes, it's fine. So when a potential problem is first detected, so whenever it wants to generate an alert, right, what it will do is, it has found that a service is down. So the moment the service is down, it will not send an alert. What it will do is, it will recheck the host or service every 1 minute for the next 5 times before generating alert. So it has found that the cron services, cron.d.service, right, the cron service which I have seen, right, it is down. So before the moment it understands that it is down, right, it will not throw an alert. It will wait. It will check that how many times for every 1 minute. It will check for the next 2 times or 3 times, and then it will throw an alert, so that it will be a complete confirmation. Sometimes there may be some network issue or something, and due to that it doesn't want to throw an alert, and everyone should not go into panic state, right? So it double checks whether the service is completely down, then only it will throw an alert. If you don't want this, what you can do is you can put 1 so by default the next time it will throw an alert. But if you don't want, you want to check for 5 times, right? For every 1 minute, for the next 5 times if you want to check, you can specify it. But if you don't want, you want to alert, trigger alert as soon as possible, you can put 1 and 1. So then this is I told, right, you are configuring the host, you configure the services, then the next thing you configure is the notification, whom it should be sent. So you can create all these groups and everything, right? So if it is a WebLogic something server, right, you can add the WebLogic group. And although if you want some managers or some senior vice president or someone who will not be in your groups, you can add those individual contacts. Or if you want to add a groups, you can add these groups and you can finish it. And if the problem persists, right, send a notification every 60 minutes until the problem is resolved. So the first time the alert was thrown, but if you want that alert to be thrown every 1 hour, you can do it, or you can change it. So you can change it for every 5 minutes until unless the issue is resolved, it will continuously send an same notification every 5 minutes. So here you can tell when a problem is detected, send a notification immediately, wait 15 minutes before sending notification, don't send any notification. We can, so whatever the threshold we have set right here, we can send it. So always the default is you need to send a notification, because if you know it early, right, you can save your resources, or you can recover that service as soon as possible. So you can also send a request to myself. So Nagios administrator should disable it, because as an administrator, you may not be an administrator of WebLogic or Apache, everything, right, MySQL database. So you need to untick this one and you can complete this. So host groups is nothing but on all the host groups, which all host groups should be added. So you can, host group is nothing but, guys, the group of servers. If it is an Apache server, so you want to add it to the which type of host groups. So right now I have not defined anything. I am not going to do this setting. So it is completed now. So let me apply this. So it's asking you to install it. So we already installed this. So let me see. So the config change has been successfully applied. and the monitoring engine was restarted. So let's see whether it started reporting or not. So previously, if you see the number of hosts which were reporting were 1, so it should change to 2 now. So the number of hosts are 2. Let's go there and see whether our agent RHL server is reporting or not. Okay, I can see the red hat symbol here, the red cap. So and it is my host name. If you see 217 and 38, right? So the 217 and 38, which is my Nagios agent. If you see 217-38, right? The same is reporting here. So it's reporting. So let's go into this and see all the details which are being reported. So the status is up. So the agent is up and running, guys. So the host status is up. The duration 50 seconds. Host stability is stable. Last checked and the next check. So since I have put 2 minutes, right? So it has already scheduled the next run, which is on 5:59. So the first run was as part of my configuration. The second run is this one. So if you want to disable notifications, if there is any change happening, you can do the disable. If you want to force an immediate check, you can force an immediate check. If you want to ping this host, you can ping this. If you want to connect remotely, you can connect it. All these things you can. These are all the quick actions. And if you want to see the performance graphs of this, you can see the performance graphs. So the data has not been collected, guys, still, because it will take some time for the first run to be completed. That is why there is no data. So whenever you want to see the data, as soon as you configure what you do, you need to do a force an immediate check. Force an immediate check will force all the commands to be completed there. So command processed successfully. So it will slowly start loading the data. Advanced. These are all the host attributes which are there. You can also do here what we have done is if you see in the home, right, you can only disable the notification. But if you want further granular notification disablement, right, you can go to the advanced. So you can schedule a downtime. So downtime is nothing but if you have scheduled a change for around evening 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. EST, right? So you can schedule the downtime based on that. Okay. These are all the advanced notifications you can set up. And if you want to see the advanced status here, you can see the latency, the execution time. So that the NRP, all the scripts were executed within this time. So if you want to delete it, you can delete this agent here. So capacity planning, guys, I told, right? So this feature is part of Enterprise Edition. So you can use this details to understand the capacity planning. So since we don't have any data still reporting, so let's see here. This is your home. So if you want to see the host group overview, if you want to see the details of this, right? So this is a location where you can see other than the home location. You can come to the host detail location. And you can see all the information on all the hosts which are reporting. So right now 2 hosts are reporting. If you want to see the service details of each host, you can see on this details tab. So if you see Apache Web Service is critical, but why it's critical? Because there is no Apache installed there. So that is why it's critical. So if you see the swap usage, right? Swap usage, it is telling critical. Why? Because there is no swap usage. Swap usage is either disabled. So the swap usage is 0 size on this. That's why it's throwing a space. So the total processor are 81 processes. There are only 1 user logged in. So these are all the stats which are collecting right now on my agent. Guys, you understood this configuration?
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So based on your requirement, you can customize your processes, services, and also your default. So anything happens, it will be throwing an alert. So whatever I told, right, whatever we did the distribution group, all those things, right, based on the thresholds which we set up during the configuration, based on the thresholds, it will be throwing a alert. So if you see the swap usage, let's see the memory usage. So this is the performance graph. So the data should start reporting. So if you see this dot side, it has just now started reporting. Let me change this to last 4 hours. So you can see the small lines here starting. You can see here, right? If the small dots, so it has just started reporting. Once it starts reporting, it will get a complete graphical report. So if you can see here, it will be showing the total, the free, the used, and the shared, and the buffers. Okay. You can close it. Based on this, you can see if you want to see the total number of users, you can see swap usage, the disk usage. So if you see, it is 482 MB, 495 MB. We added this customly, right? Any doubts in this, guys? In the agent installation. So the two parts were installing the NRP on the server itself and configuring that NRP and all the services on the host. The host we configured. The first part was the host name we gave. The second part was the services. Third name was the notification. So these are the three default blocks, guys. So if you configure anything, you need to tell whom I am monitoring, what I need to monitor, whom I need to send if anything happens. These are the three what is the core building blocks of a Nagios. What, whom, and where. So once you configure, you can start using the views and dashboards and the reports. So let me come to the views. So it has specific views. So this is your option where you can add this to a dashboard. So if you want to create a dashboard, right, only with the services name, right, you can do this, add to a dashboard, specify, and you can the dashboard name you can specify. This is a by default. It will recommend you, but you don't want, you can remove this and tell my server service status, and you can add it to the home page or you can add it to a screen. It's fine. You can add it. So it is creating a custom dashboard where it will only be showing you the information regarding the services. Okay, so this way you can add multiple to your dashboard. These are the views. Once you go to the dashboard, whichever we created dashboard, so you can change your view here, and I can also change the size. So you can customize your dashboard based on your requirement, guys. So however, see, this is getting started. So this is only for your learning purpose. Once you know the getting started, you can delete this dashboard. And I also don't want to know, because I already have some information how to configure settings. I can remove this. This is the server stats of your Nagios server itself. So I don't require this also. So I can delete this. So this is your custom dashboard. So you can configure your dashboard whichever way you want, guys, right? So manage dashboards, homepage, deploy dashboard, add a new dashboard. You can add one more dashboard. Your dashboard can be called something called disk usage. You can specify whichever color you want. It will create a new dashboard. And once you come to the dashboard disk usage, right, you can add all the dashlets whichever you want. So you can go back to the views. So whichever view you want to add to a dashboard, you can add that view to the specific dashboard. So let's go back to the views. Or I don't have this view. What you can do is you can go back to your home. Go to your service details. This performance graph you can add to a dashboard. So which dashboard I want to add, I'll add my dashboard to the disk usage dashboard and add it. So my disk usage currently is added to my dashboard. So you can go to the dashboards. You can see that disklet will be added to this dashboard. So it is reporting here, guys. So if I extend it, I can see the information. So this can be customized the way you want. So if you want to only monitor the disk usage of multiple servers in a single location, you can customize the dashboard however you want. So you understood what is a view, what is a dashboard, guys? Dashboard is a custom thing. So dashboard will not be provided by default by the Nagios server. So views are the things which are defaultly provided. You use these views to create a dashboard, and that dashboard can be customized as per your requirement. Devinder.
Yeah, okay, Gautam.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yes,
so
Gautam. Yeah.
you understood, right? So dashboard. I think the same thing will be in Dynatrace and Introscope also. So I think if you use, you don't understand what is dashboard, what is view. So these are all simple things. So most of the part we will not be creating dashboards, everything, but our configuration will be making sure installing agents remotely, configure them in this year, and also making sure your Nagios is up and running. It's fine because views will always be used by L1 team or L2 team. So some people will be creating. So and there, in the dashboards, right, there will also be another option. If some person, right, he has created a very good dashboard, you can deploy a dashboard. You can import the dashboard and deploy those dashboard here. So deploy dashboards is nothing but you have created a view, a deploy, what do you say, a dashboard, and you want the dashboard to be provided to specific users, right? You can deploy that. Whichever users you want that dashboard, right, that can be provided to that specific users. So if L1 team doesn't have a option to create a dashboard, right, what we can do is we can create a dashboards based on their requirements, and we can give those dashboard to that specific users. So since there are no users defined, that other than Nagios admin, it's not showing me any list of users. If it had any users, it would have shown me the users. Okay, it is the deployment tool. So deploy dashboard is nothing but you can send the dashboard to that specific user's homepage. Because each user has its own configuration and is information, right? So what I can do is I can create a dashboard for specific type of users who are like WebLogic users. All the WebLogic servers can be having a dashboards, and we can send the dashboard to the specific users. Okay. That's it, guys, from my end. Try creating this, installing it, configuring it, and try doing some other things. So try doing the Apache and let me know if you face any issues. Okay.
Yeah, Gautam. Fine.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Yeah. Have a good day.
Same to you. Bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
sure, Gautam. Yeah, thanks, Gautam. So Gautam, we'll meet on back on Wednesday. Sorry, Thursday.
I'll let you know by the day end, guys.
Yeah,
I'll
okay,
I'll,
okay, no
I'll send
problem.
I'll update the
Sir,
group.
yeah,
It's
if
fine, right?
possible by the night. Yeah. If possible by the end of the day, it would be great because
Yeah.
if I get a message, I would take some long sleep.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I'll update by the day end. Yeah. Sure, guys.
Yeah. Thank
Tomorrow,
you.
the next session will be on the
Thanks.
Jenkins, guys.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that is
Yeah,
also
thanks.
most important component after the chef topic. Okay, guys. Yeah. Have a good day. Bye.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Sure. Thank you.